Are they queuing up here? They just... Must be just queuing up at the moment. No, they're not. I don't know, maybe it's the trouble after these things are... Don't polish it away. Don't polish it away, Dave.
Don't mind me. He's on, I'm on.
To the brand value, but the real goals are more of the Central European countries, Italy, France, potentially Spain, and that's going very well.
Now, the actual speed of the vehicles now is increasing dramatically. I mean, we're now watching top fuel dragsters clearing the top end, approaching 320 miles an hour. We're watching top fuel motorcycles well in excess of 200 miles per hour. And it's a question I know is uppermost in your mind. What about safety of these guys? I mean, you can imagine for me, because my interests are very wide and varied, as I know yours are too, but I get involved a lot in watching motorcycle racing and going to motorcycle events. And when you're on a circuit, you can slide off. If you're low side, then you're sliding off. If you're high side, then you hope you're going to land somewhere. These guys on circuit motorcycles are maybe doing, well, they're flat out 200 miles an hour, but very, very controlled. Our guys are doing 200 plus miles an hour in a straight line with not too many places to go. Similarly with the motor cars as well. What's the security, what's the safety side of things like as we go into 2005? Is that in your mind all the time, thinking of safety of our drivers, riders?
Absolutely. In fact, it's the biggest prominent factor now in not only the construction of any new drag racing facility, which I'm involved in too in Central Europe at the moment, but in actual fact with the existing facilities. We've got to upgrade and actually take a look at the safety levels, because as you quite rightly say, when cars are running 180 to 200 mile an hour, it was already fairly dangerous. There's a hell of a difference when you reach 250, 300, 320 mile an hour. And in the States, as you know, they're running 330 plus. The whole crash barriers, the whole safety crews, the ability of the people to rescue cars, and your facilities you provide to mitigate and prevent injury is the responsibility of the tracks and circuits, as it is in any motorsport. But in drag racing at 320 mile an hour, it don't leave a lot of time to get things right.
Well, we've seen a couple of crashes, haven't we, at approaching 300 miles an hour. There's very, very little left of the motor cars. Happily, the drivers have all survived, which has been the wonderful thing. Now, for us at Santapod, we've got the two big European events this year, but there's a whole other range of events that go on at the track, not just FIA, UEA.
Well, turning up in what I call absolutely state-of-the-art, beautiful, modified Japanese or European car performance cars, and they're drag racing, just like we used to in our American cars.
Well, it's a big, big future, I think. What we have to hope for, of course, is that the weather stays with us, which we haven't got any control over that. What about let me just finish off on one point with you, because I know you're a very busy man whilst you're here. What about the facility at Santapod? Because you've been in charge of it. You've been there since, what, 1997 now?
We bought the track in 96.
96. And it has improved. People do come up to me and say, hey, the inroads are better, this is better, toilets are better, and so on and so forth. What about the rest of it? Are we going to see any changes at Santapod this year?
Oh yeah, as we speak now, we're changing all the catering area. We've got more improvements to pits, probably more grandstands. If you ask me what I'd like to do, I'd like to knock the whole thing down and rebuild it now, but that's not as easy as it sounds. There's our planning consents, planning restrictions, not to mention financial implications. And what I've tried to do is make sure that Santapod turns into profit, and it made profits, and out of the profits we put the profits back into the track. And it's taken years, as you know. It was big losses for the first few years, and that was rebuilding the brand. The first priority for me was to rebuild the brand. The brand of Santapod, which a lot of the oldies won't like to hear this, was dead. It had got destroyed. There were no more decent attendances. The racing had lost track. So what I've tried to do is, with my team and my management team around me, we've tried to rebuild the brand, around. We tried to re-establish drag racing in Britain, rebuild the brand, get it back to where it is now, and then slowly over the last couple of years start making improvements to the facilities, and that will be ongoing. And as we make better progress with the planners, so that will get speeded up. But there is, if everyone thinks there's been a lot of change in the last 4 years, to use that horrible expression, you ain't seen nothing yet. We've still got a long way to go.
All right, okay. Well, thank you very much indeed for that. I can see Nigel from Nitro FM standing right down the end there, but whether he can hear me and can come up and say a few words, that's been another asset, getting the radio station back again.
Absolutely great. In the old days of Nitro FM, that was one of the things that some of the previous owners did get right, and it's very sad. The loss of that, I think, really was sad for the track and for the spectators. It wasn't straightforward bringing it back, but in the period we've done it, which I think is about 18 months now, that is the trial and a full year, it's been very successful.
Yeah. A lot of people like listening to that. Well, Keith, thank you very much indeed for talking to us.
Okay, you're welcome.
I know
Thanks
you're very, very busy.
indeed.
Ladies and gentlemen, Keith Bartlett, if you'd like to give him a round of applause, thank you very much indeed.
Try in a minute, yeah? Let's just have a look around.
information on it.
Yeah, I'll put the video and I've got a few stats.
Yeah. What, they are them old tyres on the back, ain't they? The wheels.
Yeah.
It's a lot better, a hell of a lot better.
I'll try there. If you wait by the bit there, if you want to
Oh, alright. Yeah, alright. Oh, wait, oh, really?